previously, when using the Apply Settings To feature here on the right-hand side, if I was to apply my settings from slide 1 to any other slide on here, we wouldn't actually include any functionality on the row values, purely because if I go from question to question, you can see that my response list doesn't match. So this question 4, device ownership, has a completely different response list to which of these have you done in the last week. Now, we've expanded on the Apply Settings To functionality to include the ability to filter on rows, either by name or by position. I'm going to take you through each of these one by one, just because they're a little bit different. By default, it's set to Do Not Apply. So you can just carry on using it as you were with Do Not Apply, and nothing else would happen other than changing the settings that would have applied previously. But for this one, question 1, obviously my response list differs, we've already seen that, but I do have a none of these answer option. So if I was to remove the none of these answer option and then go to question 4 here, you see I've got none of these as well. Rather than removing none of these from all of my questions in here, I could just choose to apply these settings to everything or a range of slides. If I was going to apply it to everything by name, what it's going to do is going to look for none of these in all of the other questions and also remove none of these from the other questions. So obviously, if you had to do this on 100 different slides, rather than having to go through them one by one and removing none of these, you can just remove it on the first slide, hit Apply To, by name. Now when I jump to question 4, you can see none of these has been removed from the list. Now let's take a look at how the functionality differs if I apply the settings to the rows, but by position instead of by name. With these two questions, I should add this is just some made up data for the purposes of this video, but with these two questions, my response list is completely different. Well, not completely different, but 2 of the answer options are different. So this is a 5-point scale with a net of top 2, net of bottom 2, but this is how likely are you to recommend your video streaming platform, versus question 3, which is how much do you enjoy using your video streaming platform. And you can see enjoy, don't enjoy. So if I was to remove very likely here and very unlikely here and then apply it to the third one, if I was to use by name, because the response options don't match completely 100%, those 2 answer options wouldn't be filtered out of question 3. Whereas if I use by position, so maybe I want to do something like just leave the top 2 box, the midpoint, and the bottom 2 box. So something like that. If I was to do this, and actually let's just switch the rows and columns and put this into a stacked bar just so that you can see completely. Now, if I go and apply these settings to enjoy now, if I use by position, it's going to remove the response options that come 2nd and 3rd in the list. It won't remove 4th, and it will remove 5th and 6th, purely because they're in exactly the same position. So you do need to be a little bit careful when using this, because if you accidentally apply this to activities in the past week, it's going to remove those same answer options that are in the exact position. So you might end up actually deleting a few things that you didn't want to remove. So let's go ahead and just do that to slide 3 and filter rows by position. And what you'll see now is we've got rid of those other answer options that we had removed. One thing I should point out here is that if you want more information on this, you can come to Apply Settings, and where it says choose whether to remove or add rows by name or position, these are both hyperlinked. So if you click on it, it will take you to our wiki where it gives you an example. Obviously, if you want me to run it through in a bit more detail, then feel free to get in touch with me and I'll happily take you through in more detail.